and sharply different versions of the situation that led to a controversial police shooting. The family of Kenneth Ellis, an Iraqi War veteran killed 3 years ago by an APD officer, is suing the city over his death. The judge presiding over the trial has already ruled the shooting violated Ellis's constitutional rights. Picking a jury for the rest of the issues took most of this week. Kim Vyas was in court today for opening statements and first testimony.
The actions of Kenneth Ellis did not pose an immediate threat to the officers or to the safety of others.
Attorneys for the Ellis family painted Kenneth Ellis as an Iraqi War veteran struggling with PTSD, who only wanted to hurt himself. In January 2010, he was shot by APD in the parking lot of a 7-Eleven.
And he begins pacing in a semicircle with the gun to his head.
Officer Brett Lampras-Tremba shot him after a 9-minute standoff. Ellis's attorneys claim it happened suddenly, just as crisis negotiators were starting to talk to Ellis.
Ken, we're going to get you a cigarette. Just put down the gun. And then boom, all of a sudden, people hear shots. And Brett Lampras-Tremba's immediate reaction was, expletive. Was that me?
Ellis's attorneys argue Tremba never should have been hired because he lied on his application and admitted to committing crimes in his youth.
9 o'clock in the morning, in front of a 7-Eleven, the sound, gun, rang out.
The city argues the situation was very volatile. It was a busy place, and officers had no way of knowing Ellis had PTSD. They did know he was on drugs.
And in response to that question, are you tweaking real hard? Meaning, are you on methamphetamines? Mr. Ellis said, yes.
Mr. Ellis, as described by Ms. Levy earlier, was 100 miles an hour.
The first officer to pull Ellis over was the first witness to take the stand. Trey Economidis challenged the claims of Ellis's attorney that Ellis didn't pose a threat to them.
You agree with me that Mr. Ellis's gun never left his own head?
No, it left his head several times.
What the officers on scene saw and knew before the shooting is a huge part of this case. Both sides are asking the jury to listen to their testimony carefully because it could ultimately decide how they rule. Kim Vyas, KRQE News 13.
Ellis's father tells News 13 the family is seeking damages equal to what his son would have earned during his lifetime. They plan to use any money that the jury awards for his 7-year-old son. The trial has now recessed for the day. The officer who fired the fatal shot could testify as soon as tomorrow.